What's good? What is good? We will give it a second. Let some people roll in here. 30 seconds later, so to the stream. My bad. Jack Warner, what up, dude? Thanks for hanging out. We got some time. I got at least an hour to hang out, answer some trade questions, go through some start sits. Also, shout out to everyone who bought low on Robert Woods this week. Luckily, I was one of those people. Had a good game last night. So if there were any doubts about Woods, I think we can put him to rest. It's going to be a little bit of back and forth between Woods and Cup. Would definitely still prefer Cup for the rest of the year, but Woods is going to have his game, so it's good to see. 14 targets. Let's go. Jeff Fields, McCormick, what is good? Welcome in. Yeah, Jack, I'll tell you my thoughts about the game. For one, I thought Stafford looked actually pretty bad. I know the numbers were good. He made some good plays for sure, but he missed some throws. He missed one to Cup on the sideline. He missed a couple to Robert Woods. Missed one to Van Jefferson early in the first quarter. So I think Stafford, for like playing a bad game, pretty good outcome, 365 yards, touchdown, interception. Rams got the win. So on the Rams side of the ball, I thought Stafford looked bad, but I mean, if he's going to put up that kind of game when he doesn't look great, like, could be worse. He's my starting quarterback in my big league, and I was a little disappointed with this outcome, but I'm so optimistic moving forward. I thought Cup, I mean, still just a smash play every single week, top 10 option. Woods, I think he's back. I think this is not just like a flash. I think he's back. So if you bought low, good for you. If not, the window's probably over. And then I thought Darrell Henderson looked good too. So on the Rams side of the ball, a lot of good fantasy options. And then for Seattle, man, it's tough. Collins, disappointed if you had to put him in there. DK and Lockett. Lockett, I mean, tough game for Lockett. He had the one touchdown in the first half called back, and then he had the other touchdown that was like a 65-yarder that Wilson just missed him deep, and he would have scored. Then Wilson goes down. So we'll see what's up with Russell Wilson. If he misses time, I think it's a downgrade for Metcalf and Lockett, obviously. I don't want to, panic too much until we get more information. I haven't heard anything more than it's a sprain right now. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if he misses time. But disappointing for the Seattle side of the ball. I thought they would have had a decent chance to come back in that game if he wouldn't have gone out. Although Gino actually showed some life there, so that was exciting. What up, New Life? Thanks for hanging out. Good day. Play Josh Gordon this Sunday. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Don't play Josh Gordon. I don't even know how much he's going to play in this game. If he plays a ton, I'd be shocked. And even if he does, I don't know if that's going to lead to production. So maybe worth a bench stash in deeper leagues, but no, you're not playing him this Sunday. Oh, I feel that. Opponent bench Robert Woods got a little scared, huh? Good to see. Hollywood Brown or Antonio Brown in half PPR. I know Hollywood plays my Indianapolis Colts, and the Bucks play the Miami Dolphins. I'd go with Hollywood. He's just the clear number one option. They've been throwing it a little bit more. A lot of that's been because of some of the game scripts, but Hollywood's been good so far. AB has been a little bit boom bust, so I wouldn't be surprised if AB has a good game. But I'd probably go with Hollywood there, who I'm pretty sure is Antonio Brown's cousin. So we'll go Hollywood. Ubel, what up, dude? Big decision for the start of the stream. Let's get it. Pick 5. You got to love a good pick 5 to start the live stream. Sorry, I'm chugging coffee over here. So we got half PPR. Tanner, what's good, man? Half PPR. Eckler, Chubb, Swift, Jefferson, Cooper, Mike Williams. Got some good options. This looks like a good problem to have. Eckler is a lock. Chubb is a lock. Swift is a lock. Jefferson is a lock. So I'm going those 4 for sure. Between Cooper and Mike Williams, I'll go Amari Cooper in the matchup against the Giants over Mike Williams. Rick, what's up? What kind of player would you add to either Schultz or Fant to acquire Kyle Pitts? Redraft 1 PPR. So this is actually a great question because these trade questions are important. And I think it's important to say, like, it all depends on what your opponent needs. Like, the key to trading, instead of when I go into my league and I want to make a trade, say I want to get a better tight end, if it is in this case, I'm going to go and I'm going to look at all the teams in my league that might be willing to trade a tight end that would help me. And instead of just throwing players at them left and right, I'm actually going to look at their roster. I'm going to be like, oh, this guy had Joe Mixon, who might miss this week, and now he needs help at running backs. And I'm going to go back to my team and be like, okay, I have Melvin Gordon, James Conner, one of those guys on my bench. Maybe I can pair them with a Schultz, with a Fant to go upgrade. So for me, it all comes down to what your opponent needs. I'd be looking at those plug-in running backs. There's already been several that have gone down, so maybe you could offer some help in that category along with Schultz or Fant and get someone to take that trade. So I would just say look at your opponent's team, look at what they need, and go from there. All right, Tanner, Lance or Hurts at QB? I'm going to go Jalen Hurts here. I like Trey Lance this week. I have him in a couple of FanDuel lineups already. San Francisco against Arizona. I mean, if you're Trey Lance, you're going to come out swinging in this start because you're going to have to put up some points. So I think Lance will be a good option, but Hurts so far, I mean, I want to say he's QB3 so far on the season. He gives you the rushing upside. Even in like the nasty game he had against Philly, he still was fantasy relevant because of the rushing ability. So I'm still rocking with Jalen Hurts right now. And then our receiver, Emmanuel Sanders or Marvin Jones Jr. I like Marvin Jones. I mean, the Tennessee defense has been absolutely terrible to start out the season. So I'm firing him up this week. I like Emmanuel Sanders as well in a deeper league, but I'll go Jones out of those two. Yakmeister 305. Man, would I trade CeeDee Lamb for CEH? CD is about to explode. Playoff matchups look insane. Here's my thing. I'm not looking at playoff matchups in week 5. I'll look at playoff matchups once I know I'm going to be in the playoffs. So I'm not worried about that. And yeah, this comes down to running back depth. I think it's a pretty fair trade all in all in terms of value. CEH has obviously been a little disappointing. Or not CEH. CeeDee Lamb has been a little disappointing to start the year. CEH has had a couple really nice bounce back weeks. So in terms of value, like, I'd probably bet on CeeDee Lamb having a stronger, more consistent back half of the season. But with that being said, if you need running backs, like, you don't want to trade away CEH. So if he's like your RB3, I'd be willing to go get Lamb. But other than that, I think it's a pretty fair trade. All right, TS15, what's up? For flex, do you start AJ Green, Zach Moss, or Tim Patrick? Well, I'll rule out Tim Patrick right now against Pittsburgh, even though their pass D hasn't been, crazy so far this season. AJ Green's interesting. Zach Moss is actually interesting in that game against Kansas City. This is tough. If this was me, I'd probably roll out AJ Green. He's playing a ton of snaps. He's getting the touchdown upside. He's getting looks from Kyler Murray. I'm just not a big Zach Moss fan. I think if he scores a touchdown, it could be fine, but I'd go AJ Green. All right, Julian, should you trade Cooks for Jacobs straight up? I'm assuming there's a lot of like Cooks confusion. I'm assuming it's Brandon Cooks for Josh Jacobs. I'd take Josh Jacobs. Cooks is quarterback proof, it looks like, but I'd go ahead and get Josh Jacobs, get some more depth at running back. I think there's a lot of other receivers that can put up the same kind of numbers that Cooks can, even though he is that funneled volume for Houston. I think you can find a flex wide receiver type of name, a wide receiver 2, a lot easier than you can these running backs that are getting carries. So I'd take Josh Jacobs. All right, Joe, this is a good question. How much longer can Patterson remain an elite fantasy running back? Picked him up off of waivers and would love to flex him. Here's the thing with Patterson. He's playing like 33% of the snaps so far this season for Atlanta. So he has outproduced, from an efficiency standpoint, he's outproduced expectation by an incredibly wide margin to start the season. Now, with that being said, I think he's proven that he is a boom bust option at worst for your roster, at the worst. So like, you can always plug him in as your flex and hope he gets those 5 catches for 60, 70 yards and a touchdown and gets some running as well. So I think he's going to remain a relevant fantasy running back, but I wouldn't say he's going to be an elite fantasy running back. I think this week against New York is about the last time I'm going to be really, really excited to start Cordarrelle Patterson. After that, he just becomes one of these flex names where we're looking at matchup and seeing if we can throw him in there. So honestly, like, if he has a big game this week, or if you've had an opportunity to trade him already, I'd be willing to do so if you can get a guy that's going to be locked in with more volume. All right, which 2 team quarterbacks would I start this week in a 2 QB league? So I guess you get everyone from that team. Well, obviously the Packers with Aaron Rodgers against the Bengals, and then I'll go Trey Lance in San Francisco over Jameis and the Saints. Phil, what's up? Can always rely on Phil to be here. Phil is a true Double Move Sports legend. Damian Williams or Sermon, and then Myers or Tim Patrick. This is pretty easy for me. I don't trust Trey Sermon, even when he's had the backfield to himself. The opportunities haven't really been there, or the opportunities have been there, but the production hasn't been there. So I'm going to go Damian Williams. I think he's going to have a decent game for Chicago as kind of the last man standing. Khalil Herbert might get a little bit, but Williams can catch the ball too, which is important. And then at receiver, I'll go Jacoby Myers over Tim Patrick. I know the big concern in this Pats game is like if Houston just absolutely falls flat on their face and looks like they did against the Buffalo Bills, the Patriots might just run the ball for the entire second half. But I'll still go Jacoby Myers. Hope he gets off to a hot start. He's the clear number 1 receiver in this offense. I feel pretty good about him this week. Yak Meister back at it. If Dalvin Cook is out, would I go Damian, Madison, or Sanders? It looks like I think Dalvin's going to play. We'll see. I know he's been out of practice, but I'd probably just roll with Alexander Madison. The big concern for me with Madison coming into the season was like every time in the past when Dalvin's missed time, Madison hasn't come through. Earlier this season when Dalvin did miss that game, Alexander Madison was fantastic for fantasy. So against Detroit, I'm willing to trust that again. I'd go Madison there. This is a good question from Rolando. What's up, by the way? Welcome in. Tired of Dalvin playing through injuries. I don't know if you should risk playing him once again or bench him and have Patterson play in his place. Go with Dalvin Cook. You go with Dalvin Cook and you hope for the best. Look, is there a chance that Dalvin comes out, doesn't get his normal snap share, isn't as effective, and Patterson scores more points than he does? There's always a chance. But if you start Cordarrelle Patterson and he goes for 8 points and Dalvin has one of his explosion games, you're gonna have a tough time living that down. So you start Dalvin Cook every single week that he's active. Ubel, what up? Back with another question. Just keep them rolling, everyone that's in here. Keep the questions rolling. I want to get these start sits, trade questions. Ask me anything. Seriously, ask me what my favorite beer is. Like, we got time here. We got time to hang out. So DST is very important. I normally stream based on matchup, but auto start Broncos D every week. Oh, well, this is actually what Ubel is asking here. Look, if you have a top defense, if you have, Broncos are a good example. They've been really strong to start the season. If you have like a Pittsburgh, if you have one of these really strong units, the temptation is to start them every week. And most of the time that's okay. But if I get in a situation where, so you've got Broncos D, the Broncos play Pittsburgh this week. So, I think it's fine to play them in this game. But say you've got the Colts defense, normally a pretty good unit, and they have Baltimore this week. I wouldn't necessarily drop that defense. I would try to clear a bench spot if you can, and maybe stream for a week, stream for 2 weeks if you've got tough matchups, and go from there. So I think matchup is typically a lot more important than the defense itself. But that's just my philosophy. I'm not a big DST fan, to be honest. So it's a toss-up. There's so much variance involved. It's a toss-up. All right, Joey, what up? Thanks for the question. Should you start Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault? Oh, Marvin Jones and Laviska, or start Boyd or Cortland Sutton over one of them? I would start Boyd over one of them. I'd probably start Boyd over Shenault. This week, if you only had one of these guys, I'd probably play Marvin over Boyd and Sutton. I would play Shenault over Boyd and Sutton. But knowing this is the Jacksonville Jaguars we're talking about, I would hedge a little bit. Like, I don't prefer Shenault to Boyd so much that I would take the risk to go all in on Jacksonville, because if they have a bad game, you're absolutely hosed in your matchup. So go with Marvin Jones. He's the premier option, in my opinion, of those two guys in Jacksonville right now. And then kind of hedge it a little bit and go with Boyd. Rick is watching a lot of defense talk. Let's go. One of my least favorite things, but hey, it's an important part of fantasy for a lot of leagues. I don't know if Washington D is going to turn around. They've looked terrible. I mean, if they're not a must start every single week. They have New Orleans this week. We'll see what they can do against Jameis, but I'm willing to move on from them. If you've been rolling them out there every week. Is Vikings D a good stream this week against Detroit? In my big home league, I'm going against Vikings D, and I'm not happy about it. I think it's a pretty good play. I wouldn't say it's like, a top 5 play this week, but I think they definitely should be started. Ashwin, what's up? Where is the panic button on Miles Sanders? It's pretty high. Like if I had to say scale of 1 to 10, how worried am I about Miles Sanders? After week 2, I was like a 3 worried. I was like, okay, he got volume the first couple games, like he'll be back. After a couple more games of very questionable usage and a lot of Kenny Gainwell, I'm definitely a little bit more concerned. I wouldn't panic sell if you can't get anything for him, but I would be willing to move him if someone's going to pay up. Sanders' first 2 games, 15 carries, 13 carries. And then in week 3, 2 carries. In week 4, 7 carries. Pretty concerning, but he's still getting 2/3 of the snaps. He is the running back 1 there in Philly. So I think he's an RB2, but I'll fade him if I can until he bounces back. Qui-Gon, what up? Straight from the Jedi Council, asking about some fantasy football. That's what we like to see. Julian Connor, Brandon Cooks, or Emmanuel Sanders. Feel like Belichick is going to find ways to shut down Cooks. That's what Belichick does. He shuts down your number 1 option, and Houston only has 1 option. So after what I saw last week from Houston, I'm a little bit worried. I think the Patriots are going to be able to shut them down pretty well. They're going to run this game out. I mean, the over-under in this game, I got it pulled up, 39.5. So I think Sanders in a high-scoring shootout against Kansas City has the upside. I'd actually go Sanders out of those 2. All right, Ashwin, got another answer for you. If active, is it a bounce-back week for A.J. Brown? My answer to that one is yes. If he's active, you play him with confidence, especially it looks like Julio's not going to play. So more opportunity, more funneled volume for A.J. And as Schultz solidified as a must-start tight end every week, I have Schultz as a backup in my big league behind Hawkinson, so he's not a must-start for me, but I'm looking around the league, and there's a lot of teams that I think if they had Schultz would be starting him. I think he is in that category where you can lock him in every week and feel good about it, but I wouldn't call him a must-start. I think he's in that Noah Fant range. I'd take him over a Dallas Goedert, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I think Schultz is interesting. He's getting a big target share, 17% target share so far this season in Dallas. So, yeah, I think you can play him and feel okay about it, especially in these PPR leagues. Yakmeister, this is a tough one. A.J. Brown or Deontay Johnson? I'm going Deontay here. Man, Deontay's been so good. I want to pull up his targets really quick from the season so far. So Deontay, 10 targets, 12 targets, 13 targets in the 3 games he's played this season. He is pretty much a smash every week start at this point, in my opinion. All right. We got Ubel asking Stef the same question last week. Which team is the best in the AFC West and why? I like this kind of question. This is fun. So AFC West is looking really good. Actually, last week, Ubel, I was at that Raiders game, that overtime win against Miami in Vegas, but let's get the standings pulled up here. I'm like a secret Raiders fan. I'm really a Colts fan. That's like my childhood team. I like the Ravens too. Big Lamar guy. Went to Louisville for college. Lived in Baltimore for a little while. But I sneaky like the Raiders. Let's see. So I would say the Chiefs are still number 1. It's hard not to put the Chiefs at the top. Number 2, I'm going to have some bias here. I know that I'm going to go with the Chargers. The Chargers looked good. The defense looked good in that Monday night game. I'll put the Raiders at 3 and the Broncos at 4, but I think all of these teams are going to be in the mix for playoff spots at the end of the season. So, I mean, the West in both conferences, absolutely insane. NFC West, AFC West, I think are the 2 strongest divisions in football right now. Dang, Qui-Gon. Glad you're saying what's up. We'll be here hanging out for a little while. All right. Jeff with another one. Recently been benching Chubb for other top 2 running backs. Do you think Chubb will increase? Yeah, I think both. This is the same story in my opinion. Like Chubb and Hunt, this is a debate a tale as old as time. Chubb has been a little bit disappointing. It's just if you're in an 8-team league, sure, maybe you can have some other options to play over Chubb. But if you're in a 10-team, 12-team, 14-team league, like I just doubt there's going to be a lot of other options to play over Nick Chubb. I'd love to have some examples because like 22 carries and 21 carries in the last 2 games, no receptions or 1 reception over those 2 weeks. But that's what we knew coming in for Chubb. He didn't get the touchdown in either game. Week 1 and 2, we got the touchdowns. Week 3 and 4, he didn't. And that's that. So, I think Nick Chubb is a premier option, and it's going to be hard for me to bench him at this point. Phil knows what's up. Gainwell season, second half. He's in that Tony Pollard range. Like, he's interesting as a backup, as a handcuff with that standalone value. Big pun, let's get it. Bobby Trees. Big pun was with me all over that Bobby Trees buy low train. Let's get it this weekend going in, at least from a fantasy perspective, with a good lead after Thursday night. But obviously hoping for the best, hoping for some dubs this weekend from everyone watching. Also, good reminder, there should be, you never really know until I'm done streaming, but there should be a Discord link below. Totally free to join. Big Pun is in there. Our boy Phil is in there. A lot of people, from this Double Move sports community are always hanging out in that Discord, free to join. We're talking trades all the time. We do these live streams. We try to at least get one a week between Stef and I. But if you're not catching the live stream and you have start sit questions, like the best place to ask those is in that Discord channel. We are replying 24/7, and Stef and I are popping in and out of there trying to get to every single question. And the community in there is just amazing. Like, people helping people, getting these wins, giving feedback, giving opinions, giving input. So if you're not in there and you're watching, be sure to join that Discord link. You won't regret it. I can tell you that much. But we'll go ahead and move on through some of these questions. I love that they're rolling in. Let's go. Lucas, what up? Someone offered you Gibson for Waddle. Should you take it? If you're getting Gibson, yes, you should. 100%. Ashwin, am I worried about Devontae Smith against this new scary Carolina secondary? I mean, you see J.C. Horn go down, you have some questions, then they go get Henderson. I mean, Henderson's okay from Jacksonville. And then they pick up Gilmore, and it's like, dang, they retooled that quickly. They're trying to go for it, which is interesting. But no, I'll still start Devontae Smith. I'll still start him this week against Carolina. Julian, you don't have to be sorry. You can ask me as many questions as you want. Emmanuel Sanders or James Conner at the flex. Well, this is a tough one. To me, this is an easy Emmanuel Sanders, but Chase Edmonds hasn't been practicing. So keep an eye on that. And if Edmonds is out, I think James Conner actually becomes interesting with maybe more receiving upside, with maybe some more touchdown upside. Rondale might get more involved if Edmonds is out. So I'm going to say Sanders because I expect Edmonds to make it back into practice and into that game. But keep an eye on that Cardinals backfield. Money line on Bills or Chiefs if you're into betting. Yeah, I can throw around a couple bucks from time or two. Let's check it out. So we got the Bills and the Chiefs. Last I saw was a 56.5 over-under. Yeah, it's still there. Bills plus 2.5 at Arrowhead. I'm taking the Chiefs here. I think they win it by 4. I think this is a 31-27 game, Kansas City. Bailey, what's good? Glad you could join us, my guy. Jesse, what's up? Oh, yeah, I got that Steelers picture and Steelers in your question. So I think we know what your gut's going to tell you this week. Steelers and Raiders D, not sure which one to start. I got the Steelers D this week. I'm feeling pretty solid about it. They played Denver. It's a lower over-under game, which is great. The over-under is 39.5. And last I saw, I know Teddy is kind of progressing through the protocol, so he could be out there. Even if he is, I'm still cool with the Steelers D. They got healthy, Watt's back. And if it's Drew Lock, I mean, you can pretty much write in Sharpie that there's at least 2 turnovers happening for the Broncos in this game. Unruly Drip, what up, man? Damien or AJ Brown full PPR? AJ Brown. I think when AJ Brown is healthy and he has been progressing through practice, I don't think they're going to put him back out there if he's at risk. So AJ Brown if he's out there. Which last I saw, I think he was confirmed to play. All right, Bailey. Trey Sermon or Tony Pollard. I think Sermon's season is over for me. Like, he had the backfield to himself and he couldn't run away with it. He couldn't give me the production I wanted in fantasy. So I'll go Tony Pollard. Even if Sermon's out there by himself. Like, I still have my worries. Juszczyk is involved. Trey Lance is going to run it. So I'll go Pollard. Trey Lance or Ryan Tannehill. I'll go Lance. I'll go Trey Lance. I'll take that rushing upside. He might have to throw it a ton against Arizona, so I'll go Lance. All right, next break. Wide receiver and running back rest of season. Pittman and Javonte Williams. So we got Phil calling a shot on Pittman and Javonte. Take that for what it's worth, but I kind of agree with you. I think it's time for both of those guys. Mitch, my dude, thanks for joining. Don't know what to do with Amari Cooper. Me neither. Don't want weeks 2 to 3 to be a continuation. Worried the volume won't be there for him or CD. Thoughts if you should try to sell him. Well, if you've been following for a while, you know I've been a big proponent of Cooper this season, and I am worried. Week 1 was fantastic for all the Cooper hot takes, but week 2 and 3 were rough, and week 3 was really rough. I mean, the thing about week 3, you have to remember, he was saved by the touchdown, 3 targets, 3 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. He only played 48% of the snaps, though. Missed a ton of that game. He was on the sideline with that hamstring. So I'm hopeful that he's going to bounce back. I wouldn't sell just yet. I think Cooper can bounce back. But honestly, as long as Dallas is having success in the running game, as long as the defense continues to play pretty well, the upside for Cooper might not be what we thought it was. The defense is playing much better than expected, and Zeke is starting to eat a little bit. So right now, I think you hold Cooper, keep him, roll him out there, and just hope for the best. I think he can bounce back. It also all depends on what you can get for him, but I still think he'll be fine. All right, Qui-Gon. 2-1 against 3 of the top 4 teams. Does that mean you're legit? Absolutely. And you're a Jedi, so of course you're legit. All right, Sean, what's up? Choose 2, Gibson, Hunt, Patterson, Cooks. Gibson's going to play, right? I saw he was kind of in and out of practice. Let me pull up his report. Yeah, he'll play. I'll go Antonio Gibson. Lock that one in. I think I'll go Gibson, Hunt. Patterson's appealing with Ridley out and a good matchup, but I'll go Gibson, Hunt. I'll start the studs there. Oh, Gilmore doesn't play until week 7. Thanks for the call out Unruly Drip on that Devontae Smith Eagles question. So Gilmore won't be out there. All right, Jeff. 18 PPR. Robinson and Chubb on the bench. Oh, this was in regards to the Chubb thing. Okay, so 8-team, like in an 8-team league, you can get a little more flexibility playing matchups and playing the hot hand. So if your RB1 and 2 are Kamara, Najee, current flex Patterson, yeah, totally. I mean, it's reasonable. It's reasonable. I'd be playing Chubb, but I get it. All right. I'm going to get to all these questions. Don't you worry. I lost my place. Boss Man Fat. Is that a Kentucky Wildcats photo? I might have to skip this question. I'm a Louisville Cardinal. But should you trade away Tyler Boyd and Melvin Gordon for CEH? Oh, lost to Monty. That's tough. Yeah, I'd do it. CEH is getting volume in a top offense. Like, no, I don't think he has the top 5 upside that he once had, but he should be a solid running back for your squad. So I'd make that move. Damien, Harris, or Gibson. This one's tough. I love Harris this week. Good matchup. I'd still go Antonio Gibson, though. Just a little more involved in the passing game. Yeah, I'd go Gibson. Although I do like Harris a lot. Julio is out. Can you see AJ Brown? Is Julio officially out? I saw he wasn't practicing. I wasn't expecting him to play. Let's check. Yeah. So, wasn't practicing today. Yeah, he's out. So, AJ should get a lot more targets. I mean, I definitely could see a lot more volume being funneled through Julio or through AJ Brown. So, yeah, I'd start AJ Brown this week without a lot of hesitation. Lucas, I got you. Bro. So, we got a flex question. Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, or Sterling Shepard. I don't know if Shepard's going to play, so I'm going to fade him. I'll go Jamar Chase. Keep riding that hot hand. He's making a lot of big plays. Roll Chase out there. Cameron, Chuba, or Javonte. If CMC plays, it's obviously Javonte. If CMC is out, I think you can go Chuba. That Denver-Pittsburgh game could be a little nasty. Jeff, thanks for just keeping the questions coming. I appreciate you. Would I sell high on Dak after the Giants game? They are relying on the running back a lot. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you've got two good quarterbacks, like there's no reason to have Stafford and Dak on your roster. I'd try to trade one of them. It just depends what you can get. Maybe shop both, see if you can get more for one or the other and move on from them. You don't need two high-end options in a league. Unless it's 2 QB or super flex, of course. All right, Ubel. The Russell Wilson topic back. Hurts, Lance, and Wilson. So again, don't need all these quarterbacks. I feel you. You want to get rid of Wilson. Yeah, I wouldn't trade him right now. With the injury, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot for Russ. So maybe it's worth asking around. But if anything, I think you go ahead and hold. Qui-Gon. Should you bench Cook and play Damian Harris? Concerned about the ankle injury? No, play Dalvin Cook for sure. And Bailey, would you be crazy to start Zach Ertz? I mean, if you're desperate, I don't think you're crazy. There's probably 12, 13, 14 options I'd take in front of him. But, like, he's basically 90% of Dallas Goedert at this point. So I don't think it's crazy. Sell Julio PPR. If you can get decent value for him, I'm fine to move on from him. All right. Keep these questions coming. Also, if you're just joining, Discord link below, totally free to join. Stef and I are in there hanging out, answering questions all the time. It's an absolute blast. Great community. We got start sit questions, trade talk. We even jump in there live and review rosters every now and then. So it's a blast. Also, keep these questions coming. Like, I'll be hanging out for another 20, 25, 30 minutes. And we're talking start sits in here. I want to hear trade options. I want to hear, hot takes. I want to hear just general NFL questions. I'm a big Colts fan. Ask me anything you want about the Colts. Ask me anything. I'm just here hanging out, having a good time. Appreciate you all for real. Nothing much better on a nice rainy Friday than hanging out and talking some football. But let's keep moving down the list of these questions. Endless Official, welcome to the party. CeeDee Lamb or Marquise Brown? I would go CeeDee. I believe in the bounce back. I'm not going to buy into the dip too much. I think he'll be fine. So I'd go ahead and keep starting your studs. I'd go CeeDee Lamb. Also, okay, get this. I'm looking at our Discord right now, and no one's joined. We got 18 people in here, and I'm going to say we don't have all 18 of you in the Discord. So seriously, jump in there. Even if you've never tried it out before, just give it a shot. It's just good quality NFL chat with the Double Move community. Good people, good conversation. Stef and I are answering questions in there 24/7. So I want to see at least 2 or 3 people joining that thing before the end of this. All right. I see you, McLovin. Let's go. All right. Now we're rolling. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate it. Let's keep it rolling. That's the best place for Double Move updates too. That's a good place to ask questions, connect with us. It's kind of like the inner circle. When you're in. And it's a good place to hear about these live streams, hear announcements, all that stuff. So we got a trade evaluation. Let's get to the bottom of this. Sorry if this is for the Yankees. Sorry about your Yankees, by the way. I got to catch the White Sox game after this. I know it just started. Najee, Ridley, Higgins, and Lance for Herbert, Damian Harris, Hopkins, Thielen. So I'm going to have to break this down. So at quarterback, Lance Herbert. Honestly, I'm probably leaning Herbert there, but if Lance runs away with that job, he's got the upside. So that's kind of a push to me, not a big swing. Najee over Damian Harris all day. I'll take Ridley over Hopkins right now. That's about a push. I like Ridley's outlook, but he is out this week. So, and then Higgins, Thielen. I'll probably take the Najee side. All right, we'll crank through some of these start sits nice and easy. If you want me to elaborate, just throw it in there and I will. Kirk or Burrow? I'll go Joe Burrow. Packers defense is pretty banged up right now. So give me Burrow, Sutton, or AJ Green. Here we are in week 5. We're asking about AJ Green. I'll still go Cortland Sutton. Gross matchup, but AJ Green's just so boom bust. Sutton's going to be that number 1 option. Still was targeted a lot last week, so I'll go Sutton there. Higgins or Brown? If it's Hollywood, if it's AB, if it's AJ Brown, I'm If it's AJ Brown, I'm going AJ Brown. If it's Antonio or Hollywood, I'm going Higgins. So I know that's kind of confusing, but there's a lot of Browns out there. Oh, AJ Brown. I see you now. Yeah, I'll go AJ Brown. Lance or Fields? Phil, I'll go Lance. Fields hasn't looked great, and he hasn't had to do a lot from a fantasy perspective. So I'll go Lance. He's shown a little bit. The efficiency's been kind of whack and up and down as a passer, but I like what I've seen from Lance from a fantasy football perspective so far. Sean, Fournette, Pirine, or Elijah Mitchell? Leonard Fournette. He is a locked-in starter every single week. Also, shout out to you guys. We got 4 new Discord members. Welcome in. That's going to be a blast. You guys are going to like it. I know you are. But yeah, Fournette, he's getting the touches. He's getting the work. I think Fournette, people kind of write him off. They don't trust him. They think of that Tampa situation as being kind of sloppy, but he's the clear starter. 20 carries last week, 82% of snaps, 5 targets. He is getting work. He's getting 11 carries and 5 targets a game. That's fantastic. So Leonard Fournette. All right, start 2, AB, LaVisca, Myers. I'll go AB and LaVisca. I like Jacoby okay, but the matchup kind of freaks me out. Low over under. It could be a ground and pound game. Man, we're in week 5 when we're asking about George Kittle or Dawson Knox at tight end. And here's what I'll tell you, unless official, I've been looking at the practice reports today, and Kittle, I know last week he didn't practice for a lot of the week and he gutted it out and played. He hasn't practiced a lot this week. He still got 11 targets last week. They're going to be against Arizona. They're going to need to throw the ball. If Kittle's active, assuming he's active, I'd go Kittle. Yeah, I'm with you, Jeff. Knox has been good. I don't mind him at all at tight end, but Kittle is Kittle. I'd still start my studs at this point. Is it worth dropping Javonte Williams? If that's Jamal Williams, that makes a difference. Jay Williams or Elijah Mitchell for Pittman. I would be willing to drop Mitchell for him. And if that's Jamal Williams, I'd probably be willing to drop Jamal. I would not drop Javonte, though. Oh, Jacob O'Connor coming in with the hot take. It's getting hot in here. Bengals winning that division. I mean, hey, they're looking good so far. 3-1. Pittsburgh is gross. But, I mean, Baltimore and Cleveland are going to be tough. We'll see. We will see. Parksy, Cordarrelle Patterson, hot topic this week, Cordarrelle, or James Robinson. I'll go J-Rob. I like the work he's getting. Titans defense is absolute garbage, so I'll go J-Rob. Hawkinson was incredible. Weeks 1 and 2, 3 and 4, he's dropped. Do you think he returns to top? Yeah, I think he'll return. What you got from Hawkinson. I'm a big Hawkinson investor this season. I've got him in a lot of different places, and week 1 and 2 were quite the joyride. 11 targets, 9 targets with the touchdown each week. Week 3 was bad, but I mean, even last week, 8 targets, just didn't get the touchdown. I think week 1 and 2 are too high. I think week 3 and 4 are too low. I think most weeks he comes somewhere in the middle. But he's still an every week start. TJ Hawkinson is still he's probably my tight end 3 right now for me, rest of season. Kelsey, Waller, Hawkinson 3, Kittle 4, Andrews 5, Pitts 6. Unless I'm forgetting someone, which I don't think I am. Jesse, hot take. The Steelers are going to turn it around, no bias, with a very nice Steelers picture. We'll see. They got so many fun fantasy football pieces on that offense. I hope they do. Not a big Steelers guy, but I hope they do. Bailey, buy low on A-Rob. A-Rob and Woods are 2 guys I've had my eye on since week 1 as buy lows. As a lot of you know, if you've been hanging out, I bought low on Robert Woods, and that paid off this week. We'll see how it plays out moving forward, but I think he's back. Because I know the offense was good. That's why I went after Woods over Robinson. I knew the offense was elite. With the Bears, I'm a little worried about the offense. He only got 3 targets last week, 6 targets in week 3, 4 targets in week 2. Schedule becomes a little more pass-friendly. They got Vegas, Packers, Bucks. If he has one good game, the buy low window is going to be gone. So it all depends on what low means. If you can get him on the cheap, move a couple bench pieces for him, by all means, go grab him. Because I think there's a good chance he bounces back. But I'm not selling a bunch of important pieces off for A-Rob at this point. Oh, I love this question from Jeff. This is what we need. And I'll get to all the start sets. Don't worry. I just got to spend a minute here. I love the hot takes. I love the beer questions. I love the bourbon questions. But this is a Hall of Fame question. Do I think Stafford is a Hall of Famer? And honestly, this is not one I've thought about a whole lot. Like you hear the Big Ben, you hear about Eli Manning, you hear about Phillip Rivers. Let's see what we got with Stafford. I'm going to pull up some all-timer lists. So Stafford is 14th all-time in pass yards. It looks like he should comfortably probably get into the top 10 in pass yards. It looks like in terms of passing touchdowns, he is number 13. He should comfortably get into the top 10, assuming he doesn't have any injuries if he plays 3 or 4 more seasons, and passing touchdowns. So you're talking about a guy that's going to be top 10 in passing yards, top 10 in passing touchdowns. He had that Detroit Lions curse for so long. We'll see what he can do with the Rams. I'm a sucker for stats. So if he can get into the top 10 in passing yards and passing touchdowns, I would say yes, because to me, there were a couple seasons there where the team wasn't great, but he was a top 5 quarterback in the league. And his Rams career is going to make or break. Like if he can make a couple deep playoff runs with the Rams, pick up some playoff wins, maybe get to a Super Bowl, even if he doesn't win one, I think you got to say yes, right? So I'm going to go yes, but I think his Rams career is going to make or break that decision. Do I think Tyler Lockett is going to do good this year? Well, I would have said yes before last night, but that Russell Wilson injury scares me. Let's see how long Russ is out. If he's out for like a month, I think you might be able to buy low on Lockett, but he's not someone I'm as interested in starting if Russell Wilson's out. If Russell Wilson's back out there, I'm a big Tyler Lockett fan. All right, Bailey, this is a good one. Is Logan Thomas going to benefit Samuel? I think you keep stashing Samuel for now. We'll see how he gets worked in, but there is a vacancy. There is a hole. So, yeah, I think it will. I'm not starting him yet, but I think he's a good stash. Is there any chance from Sean, any chance that Le'Veon pops off at all? No. Get rid of him. Why? I don't have Le'Veon Bell on your roster. Hot take from Phil Myers, Jacoby Myers, first reception touchdown of his career this weekend. I like it. All right, Qui-Gon. Also, just crazy, Jacoby Myers has not scored a receiving touchdown. Do I think Mac Jones can end up as the best QB in his class? Yeah, absolutely. I see Mac Jones as having like a Matt Stafford level upside, ironically. Not a super mobile quarterback, but he's smart. He probably doesn't have the arm that Stafford has, but I think Mac Jones is just a smart, solid quarterback. And with the right team, he can take a team far. And he's been the most impressive so far. So I know T-Law, Fields, Lance, like those guys are going to come out swinging. Who knows? Zach Wilson doesn't look great. Davis Mills doesn't look great, but I think he definitely can. I wouldn't bet on it, but in terms of an NFL quarterback, absolutely. Jack with the spice here. All right, from Jesse, who do I think the Colts are missing besides the situation at quarterback? Well, let's think about it. The offensive line is fantastic. Tight ends, they're okay. We got JT. The defense is really coming together. Darius Leonard, DeForest Buckner, and the boys. I think the biggest thing the Colts are missing is that alpha wide receiver one. I mean, you look at what happened to Buffalo when they got Stephon Diggs. You look at what happens to Arizona when they get DeAndre Hopkins. You look at what happens to these teams when they get an alpha number one wide receiver. And yes, like the quarterback development is a part of that. But if the Colts had one of these top 5, top 7 wide receivers in the league, I think that helps the quarterback situation. And I think it might take the team over the top to be a little more explosive. All right, we're getting back to some fantasy stuff. Ronald Calla, what's up? Needs to decide on a flex and a half PPR 10 team. Damian, well, yeah, thank you, Ronald. Like the stream. If you're hanging out, give us that like. Hit that like button. I know there's been a lot of people bouncing in and out, but we got 20 people watching right now. Should be at least 20 likes on this video, right? All right. Flex and a half PPR 10 team. Damien, LaVisca, OBJ, Javonte. Okay, a lot of options. I'm ruling out Robbie, Ayuk, AJ Green, Javonte, Odell right off the bat. This is between Damien and LaVisca for me. Half PPR. I think Damien's going to get a lot of work this week, to be honest with you. I like Damien Williams. I don't think he's a bad player. Logged a full practice, playing Vegas, like could get a touchdown in this one. I like LaVisca this week, but I like Damien in this format. I think he's going to have a good game. All right. Is Michael Pittman a good flex? Yes, he is. Also, Ronald, just thanks again. Yeah, like the stream. Helps us out a ton. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe button helps us out a ton as well. Keeps you posted on these live streams, keeps you involved with Double Move. We're coming at you all season long, all off season and Dynasty and everything. So, like, keep it coming. And also, thank you, Ronald. I'm glad I nailed the last name. Let's get the take from Jeff. Follow up on the Stafford debate. Yeah, he's totally underrated. Yeah, one Super Bowl for Stafford. Stamp it in blood. He's in the Hall of Fame. So we'll see. Donovan, a Dynasty question. I love Dynasty. Stef and I have gotten a lot more into Dynasty, especially in the offseason. That's when we'll have a ton of Dynasty content. And in the Discord, there is a Dynasty server. So like we're talking Dynasty year round. That's the best place to talk Dynasty with the Dynasty players in our community and with Steph and I. But T-Law for Judy in Dynasty, if it's a super flex, absolutely not. If it's a 1 QB, maybe. It all just depends on the roster size, and the roster construction makes a big difference. So Donovan, throw that in the chat and we'll circle back to this one. Is it super flex? And how many receivers and how many flexes do you have? All right, how are we feeling about Ridley? I think Ridley's fine. He's still a must start every week, top 15 wide receiver in fantasy. Ooh, the battle of the Damians here. We got Damian Harris or Damian Williams for his RB2. Franklin, what's good, by the way? I'm going to go Damian Williams in a full PPR. I think Harris gives you a great floor this week. He could be, 100 plus yards and a touchdown or two against Houston. But Damian Williams in a PPR, like he's going to get targets. He could score a touchdown as well. He's going to get some good work. So in a PPR, I think I'd give the edge to Mr. Damian Williams. I love these questions, Jeff. Do you think this is Big Ben's final year? He had an incredible career. Yeah, he'll be in the Hall of Fame for sure. Yeah, this is Big Ben's last year. I think he should have retired last year. He looks absolutely terrible in my opinion, but I don't think they're going with Haskins. The problem is with the Steelers like trying to compete, but they know it's Ben's last year. So like the better they are, the worse their draft pick is going to be, and the more it's going to be a struggle for them to get a quarterback in the draft. So them losing all these games early might actually be the best thing for them. If they end up below 500, I think for the first time in Tomlin's career, if that happens, could be the best thing that could have happened to them, because if they get a high draft pick, who knows? They could either draft somebody, or there's those Aaron Rodgers rumors. Maybe they can wield that over to the Packers and pick him up. Dynasty trade from Phil. I love the Dynasty talk. Let's go. Hunt for Gainwell in a 23-second. I think this all comes down to whether you're competing or not. If you're competing right now, I'd prefer the Hunt side. He's playing great. He's actually outproducing Chubb so far. Great RB2 flex kind of guy. But if you're in a rebuild, Gainwell has been interesting enough, and they've used him enough where I think he's going to provide some value. So I think a pretty fair trade all in all. If you're in a rebuild, though, I definitely don't mind the Gainwell on 23-second side, but I always like competing. So I'd probably lean ever so slightly toward Kareem Hunt just for what he's doing right now on the field. And I think maybe you could get a little more from him if you're really trading him to a contender. All right. Would I consider starting Damian Williams or Devin Singletary? Yeah, Damian Williams here. Damian should be a pretty solid play this week. I really think so. I think Damian's going to see 12 to 15 carries and 4 or 5 targets, and that volume's fantastic. All right. Thoughts on Rashad Bateman when he's back? I am afraid I don't know if he's going to be fantasy relevant this season. I think he's going to be good for Baltimore. I think he's going to help Lamar. But when you're a rookie and you miss the first, I think it's 6 games that he's going to miss, it's such a hard learning curve. So I think long term, like maybe by the end of the season, Bateman, you can squeeze a little value out of him, but it's going to be an uphill climb. And Hollywood's been great so far. So I like Bateman a lot as a player. I think he will, by the end of the 2022 season, be the clear number one for Baltimore. But this year, I just don't know if he's going to take that step over Hollywood. And you're already thinking weekly, do I or do I not start Hollywood Brown? So, all right, from Bossman Fat with the UK picture, I think that just kills me. Who won this trade? Tyler Boyd, Melvin Gordon, LaVisca for CEH and Higgins. Yeah, CEH and Higgins side by far. I'll take Higgins over all the other receivers in the deal, and CEH is a huge upgrade to Melvin. Rick, what up? Trade Calvin Ridley for Marquise Brown, Michael Pittman, and Kyle Pitts. Probably not, honestly. Depends on your tight end situation. Depends on if you're desperate for wide receiver depth, but I'd probably hold on to Ridley. All right, Franklin, is Gaskin worth a stash? Absolutely. Absolutely. If he's on waivers, like, no, you don't start him. Yeah, he's been incredibly disappointing, but you look at this dude, Myles Gaskin. Let's look at Myles Gaskin so far this season. Week 4, weird outlier, 2 carries for 3 yards, 23% of snaps. The 3 weeks prior, though, I mean, I'm going to do some math in my head. He was seeing 9 carries and 5 targets a game, which in a PPR league, like, that's flex consideration. That's RB2 consideration. Now he's going to get Tua back in week 6 against Jacksonville, most likely. Then Atlanta, then Buffalo, then Houston. Yeah, Myles Gaskin absolutely is a stash. Damian Harris or Marvin Jones, full PPR for flex. And a PPR, I'll go Marvin there. I'm big on Marvin Jones this week. He would be a start of the week for me. Damian Harris might be too, but I like Jones. I think against a weak Titans defense, he can get it done. Derek, appreciate you. Appreciate you a ton. Let's see what you got here. 1 and 3 in full PPR. We got a flex question. Beasley, Waddle, or Renfro has Josh Allen as quarterback. Well, that's nice. Going up against Diggs. Yeah, I like Beasley there. I talked about Beasley in the start sit video this week. It's like he's been a little bit up and down, and especially in a PPR, he's startable because you look at his season so far. Week 1 against Pittsburgh, it was a grinded out game. He got 13 targets in that game. Week 2 against Miami, they controlled the game. Beasley only got 4 targets. You fast forward to week 3, they threw the ball a little more. Beasley up to 13 targets again. And then when they absolutely stomped Houston, he was down to 2 targets. So in a game against Kansas City, when Josh Allen's probably going to throw the ball 50 plus times, Beasley should see 10 plus targets. And I like his odds of turning that into 7 for 70, 8 for 80. Maybe he throws a touchdown in there. So yeah, I like Beasley. I like that Beasley Josh Allen stack. It should be a lot of passing in that game. Bambo. Also, Derek, seriously, appreciate you. Appreciate you a ton. Bambo, full PPR, Brandon Cooks, Jacoby, Kenny G, or Damian Harris. It's tough. I like Damian Harris a ton at the running back spot this week, but when we're in these PPR leagues and we're talking about wide receivers, it's just tough to fade other good options. I like Kenny G against Dallas, if I'm being honest. Looks like Shepard's going to miss. Daniel Jones has had a flamethrower this season, so I like Kenny G. And he was on CMC. Last I heard, he was going to try to play, but you know what he wants to do. Listed as doubtful. Okay, this is as of an hour ago, so this is probably after we started. Listed as doubtful for week 5, so it looks like Chuba is going to get one more run this week. Oh, Phil was all over it. Phil always knows what's up, and Jesse. Thanks, you guys. 10 steps ahead of me. All right. Also, reminder, like this video if you're hanging out. I got probably, we'll call it 5-10 more minutes. I'm expecting some good hot takes, some spicy questions in the chat. Let's keep it rolling. I'll get to all of them. From FG2 Curran, thanks for hanging out. Should you trade Debo, Patterson, and Darnold for Aaron Jones and Emmanuel Sanders? So I don't care about Darnold at all in this deal if it's a 1 QB league. So we're really talking Debo and Patterson for Aaron Jones and Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah, I'll take Aaron Jones. Anytime you can go get a stud running back like Aaron Jones, I'd take it. Bailey, package Chenault and Corey Davis for A-Rob. Man, this is tough. This is tough. I can't believe I'm even considering it. I think you can get more for Chenault and Corey Davis. I think you might be able to trade Corey Davis for A-Rob straight up. I would try that first. Franklin, you know what's up. A-Lot the Grinder, I got you. I got you. Just traded for Mike Davis in a PPR league to play in flex. Look, I've faded Mike Davis all draft season. I don't really believe in the talent that much, but I do believe in opportunity. And look, he's been terrible this year. If you look at his efficiency, he's averaging 3.08 yards per carry, 4.2 yards per target. Absolutely atrocious. But here's the thing with Mike Davis. He's still seeing 2/3 of the snaps. He's still getting 12 carries and 5 targets a game. So in a PPR league for your flex RB2, should be fine. I think he'll be fine. And if he comes off of a good week against New York, it might be tough to trade him on his bye next week, but I think you'll be all right. There's worse options. I'll say that. All right. What wide receivers should you put in your team? Yeah, well, Lockett already played, so that's going to be tricky. But you go, okay, Devontae Adams every single week, that's a lock. Justin Jefferson every single week, that's a lock. The real debate here is DJ Moore, Deebo Samuel, because both have been fantastic. DJ Moore and the Panthers play Philly. Deebo Samuel plays the Cardinals. Ooh, this is tough. I'd go DJ Moore. I trust the Panthers offense a little more than San Francisco at this point, but both good options. Qui-Gon, I would keep Cup. Keep the Cup. He's killing it. Yeah, we got Darnell Mooney hype, Chris. We got all the Mooney hype. Stef actually just made a trade for him in our home league before last week. Get this, through 4 games, he's only really had one good fantasy performance, but he's averaging almost 7 targets a game. 7 targets, 8 targets, 4 targets, 7 targets, getting a ton of air yards as well. So I think Mooney's a good flex option. All right. Would you play A.J. Brown over Damian Williams? Yeah, I'd play A.J. I play A.J. Pick 2 wide receivers, T. Higgins, Chenault, Mooney, McLaurin. Well, you go Herbert at quarterback. That one's easy. Non-PPR, so that's interesting. Non-PPR, TMC, McLaurin. He's an every week start. And for the second one, I'd probably rock with T. Higgins against Green Bay. Devontae Smith or Jacoby Myers. I'll go Smith this week. Keep Woods rest of season or sell. I'm keeping him. I think he's back. I think that's more of a sign of things to come rather than an outlier, because that's what we've seen from him to this point in his career. So I'd keep him. Also, if you're just joining, hit the like button. Helps out a ton. Throw your questions in the chat. Start sits, trade questions, life questions, Hall of Famer questions, hot takes. We got it all going on here. I know I said I was only going an hour, but I'm feeling good right now. The rain's coming down outside my window here, so I'll go 10, 15 more minutes. Also, I got to plug that Discord in the link below. Free to join. Great community. I seriously want to see more people jump in there and hang out. That's where Stef and I are answering questions all the time, just chatting about football, throwing out hot takes. It's an absolute blast. Taking victory laps when we win, crying when we lose. If you're in there, you know who you are, and I appreciate you. Donnie, LaVisca, Chubb, and Corey Davis. Pick 2. I'll go LaVisca, Chubb here. Corey Davis, he's just boom or bust to me. He's like that. All of his production has come from touchdowns this season and deep touchdowns. And he's a touchdown threat, obviously, but with Zach Wilson, I just don't want to count on it. So I'll go with the safe play in LaVisca if it's a PPR, and Chubb is an every week start. Oh, this is interesting. What is your buy low in Dynasty for wide receiver, running back, and quarterback in rebuild mode? I might think about this one and come back to it. Actually, no, screw it. We'll go through it right now. It might take me a second to talk it out, though. So I'm definitely looking for young players. Who are we trying to buy low? Henry Ruggs was a big buy low for me before the season. That window is probably closed at the wide receiver spot. Honestly, I think Allen Robinson is interesting at wide receiver if I want to throw out another name. I know rebuild, you typically think, oh, I want Jalen Waddle. Oh, I want Jamar Chase. Oh, I want these young receivers. But I think A-Rob is interesting if you're doing a quick rebuild, because I don't know if you're going to get it this season, but he is playing on the franchise tag. So he could go somewhere else to a much better situation next year. And if someone has him and they're contending, they might want to sell him off. So, like, if you have the chance to scoop A-Rob low and you're a 2022, 2023 type of team, like, I think A-Rob is very interesting. Also, Elijah Moore at wide receiver. I still believe in the talent. He just hasn't had the chance this year. So, still willing to grab him. At running back, man, it gets a lot tougher at running back. I'm trying to think. I'll circle back to that if I think of anybody as we're talking through these, Phil. But quarterback, I think the young guys like Mac, all the rookie quarterbacks, none of them have come out and set the world on fire. But I think Mac, not Zach Wilson, but Trevor, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. I mean, it's tough with Fields and Lance because they're finally starting now. But with like a Mac Jones, a Trevor Lawrence, I think you might be able to get him a lot cheaper than you could a few months ago. And one other name I'll throw out there is actually Tua. We don't really know whether or not he's good yet. We haven't seen a ton. So with him still being hurt right now, with the perception on him being that he's not great, I'd throw out some low offers for Tua and see if I can snag him. And who knows, maybe he's not good. Maybe he's not the answer for your team, but you can probably get him for a pretty good price. So I like that one too. All right, Hubbard or Najee? You going Najee Harris every week, no questions asked. No Bailey, no sexy Stef today. He's coming back. He held it down for me last week. I was on a vacation. I'm holding down for him this week. Next week, we'll be back in full force and should be for the majority of the rest of the season. So Stef and I will be back together very, very soon on the weekly pod and all that good stuff. Let's keep it rolling. Oh, Jeff, not fancy related. This could be interesting. Who do you think gets the number one pick and who they draft? Yeah, I think the Texans have to be one of the favorites right now. The Jets getting that win, though. I would have thought it was the Jets before last week. Yeah, I think it's Houston or New York. Obviously, if New York gets it, maybe they trade back because there should be some good quarterbacks in this draft. I know there's like 5 or 6 prospects that are kind of in that first round conversation. We'll see how things shake out, the rest of the college season into the pre-draft process. But in a class that's so deep at quarterback, even if the top end talent isn't there, typically you'll find teams going with those quarterbacks early. So if the Jets find themselves with that pick, I think they probably trade back. If Houston gets it, I think they go ahead and snag a quarterback of choice. We'll see which one it ends up being. How well will Lance do in fantasy? In my opinion, fantastic. I think he's Jalen Hurts level already. Like, obviously, Jalen Hurts is a more secure option. I prefer to start him right now. But I think Lance, give him a couple of weeks, he's going to be right in there as a potential top 6, 7 option every single week. I like Trey Lance a lot. Even if he's not great as an NFL quarterback, he should be good in fantasy because of that rushing ability. FG2, a little nervous about Aaron Jones. Shake it off. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. And to follow that up, yes, Aaron Jones is a good running back to trade for. Absolutely. Dylan, what up? Full PPR, I'm guessing start sit question here. Who do you start? Oh, yeah. Who do you start in the flex? Damien, Antonio Brown, Marvin Jones, or A-Rob? Wow. I can't believe we're asking about Allen Robinson. This hurts. I'd go Marvin. I like Marvin a lot this week. I've had Damien in a lot of answers. I like Marvin Jones against Tennessee with Chark out, terrible Tennessee defense, a Tennessee offense that can do enough. This is going to be a high-volume game for Trevor, in my opinion. So I think Marvin is a start. I really think he is. All right. Ronald traded Josh Jacobs and Jamar Chase for Calvin Ridley and Singletary. Josh Jacobs, RB5. Yeah, I like it. If you're in a situation like that, when you got your 5th running back, like go upgrade somewhere else. So I don't mind that trade one bit. Like you're probably never going to play Singletary, but I like Ridley to Chase. That'll help you down the line. We'll see. All right, Rahul, what's up? At QB, do you start Matt Ryan, Trey Lance, or Teddy B? Lock it in, baby. It's Trey Lance season. Let's see what he can do. You going Trey Lance here. All right, AJ Green or Darnell Mooney? Mooney. I think Mooney has a good game against Vegas. He got the good air yards last week. He got the targets, got the big plays. I'm going back to Mooney this week. Oh, yeah, shout out. Thanks, Phil. We did get the Manscaped deal. If you go to manscaped.com, amazing product, full body trimmers. They got cologne. They got body wash. They got all sorts of good stuff. Code DMS does get you 20% off. So Phil always keeps me honest, making sure I plug it for the brand. Those kind of things are the things that keep Double Move Sports going, keeps the wind in our sails a little bit. If you're going to get that stuff, like I buy body wash anyway, so why not get it from Manscaped, 20% off. It's good stuff too. So check them out if you haven't done so already. Helps us out a ton, and their products are absolutely remarkable. Steph and I have been using them for a while, but we did just lock up that long-term deal with them, at least for the rest of the season. So super exciting. All right, Jeff. I love these questions from Jeff. Do I think Bridgewater is the future of the Broncos? Will they look to draft a quarterback? Pressed by Bridgewater. Would love to see them. Howell from UNC. Yeah. Howell and Javonte back together would be interesting. Look, I am a huge Teddy fan. I went to Louisville with him in college. I think he's a great dude, great college quarterback. He's a good NFL quarterback. I don't think he's the long-term answer for Denver, although he's playing pretty well this season. I think this is kind of his trial run. We saw it with Carolina last year. He played okay. The team wasn't great. But this year with Denver, he gets a much better supporting cast. The defense is phenomenal. They've been able to run the ball okay so far this season. He gets the receiving weapons. So I think this is a one-year audition. And they didn't pay a lot for him in the draft capital that they traded. So I think if this Denver team makes the playoffs, maybe wins a playoff game, like Teddy should be fine. And we saw them pass on Fields. They want to win now. And I don't think that a rookie quarterback in the first round is going to give them the ability to win now. So I think he could be. And it all depends on who's there, what pick they get in the draft, what the free agent situation's like, and how the year shakes out. But I think this is an audition for Teddy. And as a huge Teddy supporter, I have his Vikings jersey from when he got drafted into the league. I'd love to see him do well. All right, Ronald can grab Henry Ruggs in half PPR 10 team. Would have to drop AJ, Ayuk, or Robbie. Yeah, I'd take Ruggs over Ayuk. Hurts to say, but I would right now. What up, Christian? Thoughts on trading Chase, Myers, and Connor for DK? Receivers would be Hill, DK, Hop. This is tricky. I mean, let's see what happens with Russell Wilson's injury first. If Russell Wilson misses a month, I'm probably holding off. I don't know what that offense is going to look like with Smith at quarterback for a month. So, if Russell Wilson's fine and he's back next week, yeah, I'd consolidate some flex options and lock in DK Metcalf with the other upside guys you have. But if Russell Wilson misses time, I think you maybe wait it out. Maybe you can get a little bit more for those pieces. Still going strong. Thoughts on either Falcons? Oh, nice. Falcons or Titans or play safe with Bucks. Oh, yeah, let's check out the games this week. So, I mean, New England is the biggest lock of the week against Houston. Tennessee's defense has struggled, but I think getting A.J. Brown will help their offense enough to get them to win. I like Green Bay against Cincinnati. I think the Jets could beat Atlanta. I'm not projecting the Jets to beat Atlanta, but I wouldn't be surprised. Bucks will beat Miami. Yeah, I think maybe you roll with, if you want to be a little spicy, you go ahead and lock in the Falcons or the Titans. This might be the best chance you get to play those teams. I would save the Bucks if you can. All right, I got 5 minutes. Left. Get those questions in the chat. Also, like the video if you haven't already. Like, it helps us out a ton. Keeps us going. Keeps us motivated. Also, the Discord is in the link below. Absolutely free. If you're not in there, like, I'd love to see more of y'all join. We had 4 people join since the start of the stream. Like, that's fantastic. If we could get a nice 5 Discord members up from a live stream, like, that's a big win. So if you're one of the 18 people watching, 19 people, and you're not in that Discord in the link below, it's absolutely free. It's where you can ask all your questions 24/7. We'll get back to you. We got a great community as well. Like, check it out. But bench spot for Qui-Gon. AB is on waivers. Sutton, Kenny G, Javonte, Lance, Damien Harris. Yeah, I mean, if you have an open bench slot and AB is there, I'd grab him. Yeah, I like that. Oh, Christian already played the Pats. Yeah, I don't mind. Falcons. I wouldn't say the Falcons in the Who else did we even say? The Falcons and the Titans are locks, but I like their chances. I also like Pittsburgh over. Never mind. No, I don't like Pittsburgh over Denver. Minnesota against Detroit's interesting if you haven't used the Vikings yet. Oh gosh, Darth Benedict. So get this. We got Darth Benedict and we got Qui-Gon Jinn in the chat. May the force be with you all. But someone traded Kamara and Mike Williams for Sterling Shepard and James Conner. I'd be sure this isn't some sort of collusion because that's fishy. I can't imagine a world where that's not collusion. Thoughts on Flash Gordon? I'm not interested right now. Unless you're in like a super deep league and you have a super deep bench. I'm willing to just wait and see. I mean, we haven't seen him produce for fantasy in years. But if you could do it, it would be with the Kansas City Chiefs. So if you have a new drop, if you already have them and there's no other options out there, like sure, hold them through this weekend and see what happens. But I'm not rushing to the waiver wire. All right. Thoughts on Najee and how do you think Darrell Henderson is going to do? I think Darrell Henderson's going to be pretty solid this week. I think he's going to be like somewhere around 17 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. I think he'll probably also add a target, catch it for 17 yards. So if you got Darrell Henderson, hopefully you started him because he had a pretty good game. Franklin, shout out to the Discord. Ronald, let's go. Good to have you. Couple more here. Mike, what's up? Chubb, Henderson, Hunt, Sanders. I would not trade Chubb. If I was looking to trade one of them, I'd honestly probably trade Hunt because Hunt's produced more this season so far. So if people in your league are looking at the numbers, they're looking at everything at the running back spot, like they actually might be more impressed by Hunt. Maybe they want Hunt more than Chubb for some reason. But if I was betting on who's going to be better the rest of the season, I'm betting on Chubb. So I'd probably try to trade Hunt. But if you can do Chubb for Kelsey, yeah, I'd do that. I'd do Chubb for Kelsey in a heartbeat. Give me Travis Kelsey there. All right, I'll give it another minute. Any last-minute questions that are going to roll in, I'll grab them. But thank you all so much for hanging out. It's an absolute blast. This Sunday, we got the London game, so I'm not going to be on the live stream early Sunday morning, but I will be in the Discord answering last-minute start-sit questions, any news that comes out when we see the inactives. Like Stef and I will be hanging out in there, so won't be on live Sunday, but I'll be in that Discord. But seriously, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining. We'll hit a couple last-minute questions if you've got any, but if not, we will sign off. Jesse, Trey Lance is a lock. Yeah, Trey Lance is starting this week. Ronald, appreciate you as well. Thank you all so much for listening, for watching, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.